This your boy, Bless the Best, coming at you again from the familiar place, my happy spot. Just taking my little evening chill time before I get ready to go in the house, kick it with the wife on this Friday night. We ain't going out nowhere, we just gonna chill at the house. But before I do that, I have this little conversation with y'all. Okay, I was born in 1969, many moons ago, and that puts me in a unique spot, like in pop culture, like things, black people grew up doing, really all people, black and white people, but I'm black, so I speak for myself. Okay. 1979, when I was 10, 1978, 79, that's when the very first video game console came out. It was called Atari. And it was a video game console, first one where you could hook it up to your TV and play video games at home. And it came with like 3 games, real simple games. Space Invaders, I think Asteroids, a little probably football, basketball, the graphics sucked, but it was, it was early on, and we loved it. So, like, with video games, I played every video game system, all the way up to like the when the Nintendo 64 was big. I was in prison, so I ain't get to play that, but that's a whole nother video. But another interesting thing happened around 1979. It was when the first rap song came on the radio. It was a song called Rapper's Delight by the Sugar Hill Gang. And they used a sample of this popular record called Good Times, had 3 guys rapping over it. And so every morning when my mom would drop me off at school, it's like every morning at the same time they would play that song. And man, I was so fascinated by that song. It would just dance around in my head all day. And so I would catch it every morning. And then finally, I had my little radio with a cassette tape recorder. I know that sounds like dinosaur shit, I know most of my viewers probably younger than me, but yeah, so when I finally caught it on the radio, that's the only way you could make your tapes off the radio. When you catch your favorite song and you hit record, you record it off the radio. And when I finally got Rapper's Delight on tape, my mission was to learn every word, and I finally did. And that was a habit that I had, Every time I heard a rap song that I liked, I would memorize it. So much so till all my friends would come to me, and ask me, what did such and such say on such and such, and I would always know. But okay, right at the beginning of rap, it was pretty much a lot of party records and stuff like that. And in my opinion, I have a lot of opinions, and I'm wrong sometimes, and I'm sure somebody will correct me in the comments if I am. But in my opinion, the birth of the conscious rap song was The Message by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, because it was gritty, you know what I mean? It was reality. It wasn't about partying. And from there, it went back in the party scene with, Run DMC, LL Cool J, that era. But right when the big braggadocious era of hip hop was losing steam, along came the conscious rappers. Most of them, a lot of them, spawned out of New York City, 5% Nation, Zulu Nation, other organizations, and they came with the conscious, pro-black, upliftment rap. And boy, for what it was worth, it instantly transformed the youth of society. A lot of these people that you see speaking on YouTube today, especially older people closer to my age, that was the spark, you know what I mean? And it bled into society. So right now, I'm talking like 86, 87, 88. 86, 87, 88, that was when Public Enemy was #1 on the charts. KRS-One, #1 on the charts. You got Eric B. and Rakim, Poor Righteous Teachers, the very, very beginning of people like Queen Latifah, you know what I mean? You had X-Clan, it was strictly pro-black at that time, and it dominated the charts, and it was everywhere. And the videos, man, I learned so much, you know what I mean? And it spawned my consciousness. But just as fast, and I'll say like 88, 89, maybe a little earlier, okay, the South and the West, they start making their contribution to hip hop. And the big splash came out of Miami with Luther Campbell and the 2 Live Crew. And they ushered in the X-rated sex rap. And in my opinion, I could be wrong about this, but in my opinion, they handed the ball off to Too Short with the sex rap and the pimping and the disrespect of the women. Okay, now you got the music went from higher self to lower self, and took the people with it. Okay, on the higher self side, you got conscious music, intelligent music, complex lyrical patterns. I mean, big vocabularies. You had all that on the higher self side. And on the lower self side, you had simple cadence, simple thought pattern. Yeah, I want to fuck it, or I want to kill it. And speaking of killing it, on the other end of the low nature was the rise at the same time of groups like NWA. Okay, NWA came out from California, and they spread like the extreme gangster rap and the gang mentality, and it spread across the country. just as fast as the music. I myself am a prime example of how young men can be influenced by music. And that's not gullible. Look, that's not gullible. Whatever you feed yourself is what you become. Whatever you feed into your brain, that's what it will become. And you know, and and they made it so cool. You know what I mean? I went from wearing an African medallion around my neck to wearing all black everyday Raiders hats, khakis, you know, typical gangster style dress of that period, influenced by the California gang culture. And it's crazy how the music spawned change in society. And ever since, like, the early 90s came in, and you had a mixture, but it was leaning toward gangster. And okay, the powers that be would like you to believe that that was just supply and demand. You know what I mean? The conscious music just wasn't selling no more. Yeah. But was that organic? Was it not selling organically, or was the sales manipulated through the radio and the record company and the record executives by only signing and promoting the gangster act? That's what the fuck happened. And now, what was considered gangster in the 90s is fucking they play that shit at 10 o'clock in the morning on the radio now. You know what I mean? Because hip hop has delved into deaf culture, slut culture. That's all it is these days. And you know, I just wonder what it would take to bring it back. You know what I mean? Look, it's plenty good music out there. It's plenty good artists that is out there challenging themselves. They trying to make good hip hop without all the gimmicks and without all the shock value. You just have to search for one. The main rapper that I promote that spanned all those eras and still around and still strong today is my man K Reno. Shout out to K Reno. Y'all need to check him out. But anyway, that was just a little story. I'll get back with y'all later. I'm about to go in here and see what wifey doing. I'll holler.